And she pointed at the price and said, they're €900 for a pair of linen shorts. Would you like to try them on? And I said, yes, I would. Courtney Love came in for dinner when I was at Quo Vadis, and she ordered, I still remember it perfectly because her food came back kind of untouched.
Oh my word, this is the best day of my life. As many fingers and a chop chop. Oh my God, stop it. Okay, I'm buzzing. I'm Jo Real-Davies, QVC presenter and garden expert, and the new host of the Joy of Shopping podcast. And I am joined by a very special guest, Michelin star winning chef, author and TV presenter, Curtis Stone, everyone! Woo, woo, woo.
How are you, Emma?
Yeah, I'm very well, Curtis. It's lovely to have you
Nice
on a podcast.
to see you, yeah.
I'm going to get straight into it.
Come on.
It is the joy of shopping.
Yes.
Tell me, what was the last thing you bought?
Oh, goodness. You know, we've been travelling, me and my family, through Italy for some time. So I've been clothes shopping.
Have you?
Yeah, the last thing I bought was a pair of loafers.
Oh, a pair of loafers.
Some Italian shoes from Florence.
Ooh.
Actually, I bought 3.
3?
3 pairs.
Oh my, why do you need 3, Curtis?
Well, I haggled with the man because I like the look at 3 different colours. All the same shoe, actually, which I never spoil. I sound very extravagant. I never spoil myself like that. But I said to the guy, if I buy all 3, will you give me a discount? And he said yes. So I said, all right, well, there we go.
There we go.
3 pairs of loafers.
Beautiful. They'll last you a while, I hope.
They will.
How exciting.
Very comfy too.
That was a good purchase. I enjoyed that. Well done. Tell me, have you ever shopped with QVC before? And
Of course.
Oh, brilliant. Okay. Before you shopped with us, what was your preconception of QVC?
I sort of grew up, I'm nearly 50, I turned 50
No.
this year. Yeah, I know. It's all the face cream I've bought from QVC.
That's one of the Elemis. Well, good old Elemis. Wow, thank God.
I never had shopped on TV at all. And then I came across QVC, not until I started working with them in the US, because I've been in the US for nearly 20 years. And then I went to the studio and I saw all the fabulous stuff they have. And I was like, oh my God, this is like the best kept secret in town. So I've purchased toys for my kids. I've bought beauty products for my wife. I buy all sorts of stuff for the kitchen, of course. Ingredients. I would never imagine that you'd buy ingredients. But yeah, there's lots of stuff you can buy.
Yeah, there is so much. I mean, obviously we're big fans. It kind of goes without saying. Now, am I right in thinking, Curtis, that you have Maud and Gwen?
Yes.
Or no, hang on. You have Gwen.
Maud's now turned into the pie room.
Yes. Just to be clear for anyone who doesn't know, who's listening, so Maud and Gwen were your 2 restaurants.
Yep.
Maud has turned into the pie room.
Correct.
Gwen is still going.
Correct.
And both of them named after your grandmas.
That's right.
Which I love.
They're both so different, my grannies. One grew up in the countryside in Australia, and she was very rustic. She grew up on a farm, and she would have, my granddad would literally kill a lamb and hang it off the oak tree. And that was, and I would go up there and be like, okay, it was a very rustic, rural, childhood. And my granny she grew all sorts of veggies and whatever. She didn't get electricity in her farmhouse until my mum was 21 years old. So my mum spent the first 21 years of her life living in country Victoria in Australia, no electricity.
Stop it.
It sounds like a tale, but it's the truth. And my granny, my dad's mum, Maud, she was from Yorkshire.
Yes.
She was quite fanciful, and her place was totally the opposite to my nan's house, to Gwen's house. So they both had really distinct personalities, and my mum was a single mum, and I sort of spent a lot of time with both my grannies. So they're very important to me. And when I decided to open a restaurant, the first one was Maud, and I wanted everything to be really particular and perfect and organised, and it reminded me of Maudie. So yeah, that's how the restaurants sort of got their names.
I love that. That's so personal. And like, you must just have, obviously it's so common, I feel like, in the professional world that, you know, your first memories of food must have been with your grandparents and your grandmas, and obviously that's had a massive influence on you.
Sure.
I want to ask, do you have memories in particular of Yorkshire? Any food memories of Yorkshire?
The first thing that she made for me, well, the first thing I remember her making for me was fudge. And she made this delicious sugary fudge with a digestive biscuit that ran through it. Oh. And it was so divine. And I'd make it with her often. And I've actually tried to trace the roots of it. And I haven't found what she made in Yorkshire. I think it might have come from even further north.
Okay.
And I think it's a Scottish thing that they call tablet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that a thing?
I
Yes.
was going to say I bet it's Scottish.
Yeah, tablet. Because didn't they, in the Lake District, they have this, do you know the Lake District?
Yes.
Yeah. So they have this thing called Kendall mint cake.
Oh, okay.
Do you know about this?
No, I don't.
And it's for when like they were, I don't know why we're talking about this, but anyway, when people would go on big hikes, they needed like a sugar kick to keep them going up the mountain.
Right.
And it's the most horrible thing you've ever eaten in your life. Sorry to all the Kendall mint cake fans out there. But it sounds very similar, sort of Scottish, you know, like just need that sugar kick to keep you going through the cold.
It's funny because people have said, why don't you serve it at Maud? And I'm like, well, I don't think I could serve it at Maud. It's not gastronomically so brilliant. But as a 5-year-old, I was like, oh, Granny, come on, make that for me again. And she taught me how to make it. And it was genuinely one of the first things I remember making. And I think it was one of those things that sort of got me inspired by food, you know, and got me interested in being in the kitchen, which is cool.
I think you could serve it at Maud.
You think so?
You can do tablet Tuesdays.
Tablet Tuesdays.
No, there you go.
I like it.
Tenner.
I like it.
Tenner for a tablet on a Tuesday. Brilliant. I am now head marketer of Maud.
I love it.
Sorry,
yes,
Ken.
you are. You're in.
You said that like, yes, you are. You weirdo. Now, talk to me about kitchen gadgets.
Yes.
Are you a kitchen gadget? Look, you don't have to say that you are just because this is QVC's The Joy of Shopping podcast. You know, if you're not into gadgets, that is fine. Are you into that just good, sharp tools, or are you like, ooh, this is a new fun thing that, you know, peels an egg for me?
I'm both, because I'm a total nerd and I love anything that can do something fun for you in the kitchen. But I also don't believe in having anything that doesn't work very well, because I hate clutter, right? Because you've got to have a good organised kitchen. But I started developing kitchenware 20 years ago, and it was because of necessity, right? And look, I'm not the only one. I think whenever you walk into a great chef's restaurant and you look in their kitchen, there's all these little innovative things. I remember going to a hardware store and getting pieces of PVC pipe cut into little pieces so I could use it as something that I could build a salad in, or a tian, or a tartare. So you'd build like a little tower on a plate.
Oh, like a posh, sorry, yes, of course.
So, and then of course that's a stainless steel cutter you could also use.
Okay.
Like a circular
Oh, I
cutter.
see. Sorry,
You know what I mean?
I was imagining like a straw.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I was thinking that is the world's
maybe
tiniest salad.
4 or 5 inches across.
Okay, fine.
So I started on this path of just developing kitchenware, and I sell it all here in the UK on QVC, because I think all you need to be a good cook is good quality ingredients, good quality equipment, and the direction on how to use those two things, right? Because if someone teaches you how to use them, or the product speaks for itself, you can genuinely become a really good cook without needing to attend a culinary school, or, you know, like you just need an interest and you need good ingredients and good equipment. It really is that simple.
What is the worst kitchen gadget that you've either bought or you've seen and you've thought like, oh, come on, guys, that is like, it's just a waste of time?
Oh, goodness. The worst one that I bought. You know, I think I've bought every garlic press on the planet. I think I've bought all 30 of them that exist. And I don't find success. That's the one thing that I still haven't cracked. Because I've done lots and lots of different tools that change the way you can cook in the kitchen. But I've never figured out how to crush garlic, peel it and crush it without getting smelly fingers.
Okay, I have a tip for you that someone told me, and it does genuinely work.
I don't believe
a
you
garlic
already.
smelly finger tip. Yeah.
Come on.
So you wash your hands immediately afterward with very cold water. Have you heard this before?
No.
Because apparently the cold water gets rid of the garlicky oils, but you have to, and no soap. You cannot get soap involved.
Right.
Just ice cold water.
Ice cold water?
Yeah.
I'm going to try it in about an hour's time.
Okay,
and I'm
great.
going to come and find you.
Okay, great.
And make you smell my fingers if it doesn't
I will smell your
work.
fingers,
Okay.
Curtis. That is totally an agreement we've got there. That is not a problem. Okay, great. No, I 100% agree with you, the garlic pressy thing.
Yep.
We went to one of these food trade events once, and you know the little ceramic, it's like a little saucer, and then they've been cut, like, you know, like when you used to make hedgehog bread when you were a child?
Yep.
So they've been cut like that, but in the clay, so they're all sharp, and you rub the garlic clove, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
They sell them in like the Mediterranean and stuff, and then it comes with a little brush, and at the time we were like, wow, this is going to change my life, and it's just the world's biggest, most pointless thing.
Doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
No.
Never mind. Anyway, tell me about 3 kitchen tools then that you think that every home chef, even if you're not a home chef, you're just someone that likes to cook. Top 3 kitchen tools.
Well, the number one that jumps out at me is a chopper, right? And I have a chopper called the Chop Chop.
Ooh.
Now, this thing can dice, it can cut citrus into wedges. It can cut the core out of a pear and cut the pear into perfect wedges. It can cut French fries if you want to do big chips that you want to cook with. There's so many great things that it does. It literally is like having a sous chef. And I do this thing called man versus machine. So whenever we develop something, I'm the man, and then we develop the contraption, and then I race it, right? I've been using a knife my whole life, and if I can't beat it, then we don't make it.
This sounds so fun.
The rule. And there's no way I can keep up with this thing. It is so fast. So anyone can do a load of prep in a short amount of time. So that's my number one, the chop. And you can find it at QVC.
Of course.
The next one is a kinetic thermometer.
Ooh.
So this is a probe thermometer,
Yeah.
so you can stick it in the middle of your steak and it'll tell you the internal doneness of whatever you're cooking. You can stick it into a roast chicken. So you can cook a steak medium, medium well, medium rare, and it gives you a digital readout, right? Now that's not the first time you've ever heard that. A probe thermometer exists. It's great for a roast because you never want to cook a chicken and cut into it and be like, oh, and you also don't want to overcook it because then it gets dry. Mine works on kinetic energy, so it doesn't ever need a battery, right? So all you do is give it a little shake and that'll wake it up and it gives you energy for maybe 60 seconds, which is all you need because you're going to probe that piece of meat and be like, yep, that's cooked to my liking, or no, it needs to go back in the pan. And then it'll go back to sleep. So that kinetic energy is a game changer because it's one of those tools that you don't use every day. And then if every time you reach for it, the battery's gone flat, then it's a pointless tool.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. And the last one, a good grater.
I'm with you with that.
One of those really good quality microplane make a fabulous one. I do a swivel grater that's got a couple of blades sort of housed in a little container. But microplane, it's the same sort of technology, it just sort of shaves. So it's good for grating garlic. It's great for lemon zest or whatever. And I use that a lot.
Can I ask you a weird question about graters?
Yes.
So with the grater, you have like the big cheese holes.
Yes.
You then have the small cheese holes, like the Parmesan holes. You then have the side that's just a slit.
Yes.
Which is for like
pointless
lemon zest or something. I don't know what is that for.
Well,
No, the other one is the sticky out holes, the sharp sticky out holes. What are they for? Do you know the ones I mean? The lethal sticky out. Do you know what I mean, guys? They're an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. I think that's actually the zester.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
You slice on the one.
Yes, the one with a slice is like a little pathetic mandolin. So that could be if you were going to slice a little slice of cucumber.
What's wrong with a knife, Curtis?
I'm with you.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Well, you haven't lived unless you've had the chop. This does all those things and
honestly,
more.
you're selling the chop to me.
I'm giving it to you.
When you said about perfect slices of pears, I was sold.
I'll drop it off when I show you my smelly fingers.
Stop it. Oh my word, this is the best day of my life. Smelly fingers and a chop. Oh my God, stop it. Okay, I'm buzzing. I'm so excited about this. Okay, if you walked into a stranger's kitchen, right? First of all, do you judge their kitchen? Are you like, oh, they've got weird pans, or I don't know, But secondly, is there a tool that you would see and you think they know what they're doing? Apart from the chop, obviously.
Apart from the chop. I think a really big cutting board is an essential.
Okay.
Because when you don't want one of these tiny little cutting boards that you run out of space with, because once you start slicing and dicing. So I think anyone that cooks a lot does have a really good big cutting board. Of course, good knives and good pans are indicators as well. But by the way, I made a life out of this. I did a show called Take Home Chef.
Yes.
Where I would go into strangers' kitchens for a living. And I did 140 episodes of that show. So I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to kitchens. And by the way, there's no rule to it. Sometimes I walk into a really messy kitchen and I'm like, whoa, this one's a bit of a disaster. But then the person's a really good cook and knows where everything is. And sometimes it looks pristine and they have no idea. They never use it. So, but I've seen the reverse of that too. So I don't know that there's a good indication.
Really? Interesting.
What's your kitchen look like?
My kitchen, so one of my next questions actually for you. My kitchen is quite small. I love cooking. I'm like a big food person. But a lot of surface area is taken up by my Ninja.
Yes.
My air fryer.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you've had this question a gazillion times. Are you on board with an air fryer? We're big Ninja people here at QVC, obviously.
No, they're great.
Yeah.
They're great. I mean, look, to debunk the myth, all it really is a convection oven with more airflow and more heat. So you can get it hotter and you can get the airflow better. And the air of course bounces around that small cavity or smallish cavity and gets things crispier. So it's kind of a genius little tool really.
But you're not using them in professional kitchens yet?
No, we're not. But I've actually just made, I haven't brought it here to the UK just yet, but it's in development. Spoiler alert. It's a pizza oven, which is also an air fryer. So you can use that both ways, which is, I think, pretty cool.
So what? How?
Well, it's not
is it
totally
to use
finished.
outside?
You can do both. Yeah, you can use it inside or out.
Okay.
And it gives you that perfect crust. So you have the pizza stone in there, which gives you that beautiful sort of crispy crust, which is important. But then it bounces the heat around the cavity really fast, so you get delicious crispiness on top as well.
So this is something else you're working on.
Yes.
You do so much.
I never
Curtis,
sleep.
you literally don't sleep. Like genuinely, I don't know how you have. Anyway, right, you have cooked for so many people in your life, like professionally, like celebs and normal people. Can I say normal people? Is that what we call the general public? I mean, like when you were doing the Take Home, was it called Take Home Chef?
Yep.
The Take Home Chef series when you go into strangers' kitchens and stuff. Is there one person on this planet that you are desperate to cook for?
Oh, goodness. Well, look, I live in the States, and this guy's a customer of mine, but he's never been into the store. And he sends his private chef in, LeBron James. It might not mean anything to you because he's an American basketballer.
Basketball player. I did know that, yeah.
One of the best of all time. And my kids are obsessed. He plays for the Lakers, and my kids are obsessed with him. So, and I told them that he sends his private chef in, who's told me that he loves our monkey bread because we make this delicious monkey bread from the offcuts of the croissants that we make. We just toss it with a bit of sugar and we bake it in the oven. It's really good. And this guy always stocks up on the monkey bread and buys it. It's called the pie room. He buys pies and whatnot. And I said to him one day, "You love this monkey bread." He says, "That's for my client. I'm a chef." And I got chatting to him and he told me he works for LeBron James. So of course I made the mistake of telling my kids. So now they want a jersey, they want a photograph, and they're like, "Dad, please." And I'm like, I can't possibly ask his chef. So anyway, I would love to cook for LeBron because it'll get my kids off my back.
I feel like though you're at a position in your career where you could just sort of like do that thing where you get your agent to invite someone round to your house for dinner and then you will end up cooking for them, no? Because it's win-win for them because they're getting a free meal out of you.
A free dinner.
Plus you can then say you cook for LeBron James, do you know what I mean?
I would feel so creepy if I asked someone to do that.
Especially through your agent.
Yeah.
Like getting to send a little...
I really want to cook for this
Just
person.
slide into his DMs, no? Is that not something you would do?
Do you know, it's funny, when you're a chef, you work in, I'm lucky enough to have worked in some great restaurants, some mine and some other people's. I worked here in London for many years with Marco Pierre.
Yeah.
So you get to meet and see all sorts of people. Paul McCartney's offices were in Sloane Square, I beg your pardon, in Soho Square. And he used to come into Quo Vadis quite often. And I was a huge Beatles fan, so when someone mentioned we had Paul McCartney in the dining room, I freaked out. It's pretty cool. I mean, the truth is, they're just having dinner or lunch like anyone else, and they probably just want to be left alone and have something delicious to eat. So that's what we do for them. But it's a cool career.
Have you ever had any weird feedback on your food from a celebrity? Like anyone been like, that was just not salty enough or something?
Courtney Love came in for dinner when I was at Quo Vadis. And she ordered, I still remember it perfectly because her food came back kind of untouched. And I thought, that's weird. Maybe she didn't enjoy it. So I said to the waiter, "Can you go and ask her if everything was okay?" And she used an expletive that I won't repeat. She didn't enjoy it.
Go on, repeat it.
She said it was
No, she didn't.
She did. And it was a piece of red mullet and it had a sauce made from crustacean. And I was like, I thought it was delicious. And everyone else that ate it kind of liked it, but not Courtney. Anyway,
very strange.
I'll try again, Courtney, if you're out there and you want to try my food one more time. Give me a second chance.
Did you go and see her personally?
No, of course not. She was probably annoyed that she got asked, "Why didn't you eat your dinner?"
Yeah.
And maybe she
just wasn't
for
hungry.
other reasons.
Maybe she'd been to Nando's before
That's
and she
true.
just got filled up on peri-peri chicken. Who knows? She just, she was already full. It's just unfortunate timing. Curtis, I really want to know. So obviously, we've been talking so much about food, and I know this is your whole life, and obviously that is why you're here, but sometimes it must get really boring because you kind of just want to break from
I'm an avid gardener. I want to ask you lots of questions about gardening. But anyway,
okay, this is exciting. We'll talk about produce in a minute.
Yes.
That's a weird, ingredients. Produce sounded odd. But anyway, what else do you like shopping for apart from kitchen-y, foodie stuff?
I love shopping for clothes. I don't do it often, but I absolutely love it. I love shopping for my home.
Ooh, what sort of things?
Well, I've always been interested in design, and I've designed restaurants, and not designed them myself. I've worked with designers on my restaurants, and we have an event space that we just finished in Melbourne. So I love that, and I love like watching someone with way more skill than me bring a space together. And it's kind of, in a restaurant, pardon me, you're always looking for this beautiful ambience. But when you actually say, well, what is ambience? It's hard to describe, right? Because it's a mixture of what's really the way you feel, but it's dealt to you from the lighting and the sounds and the smells and the things that you're looking at. So I'm always very interested in that. And I think that sort of layering of objects and beautiful things into a room is really fun.
I have a thing about restaurants, right?
Yeah.
This is a weird thing to say. That so I've been to some really lovely restaurants. I'm really lucky. I love food. I'm like a real foodie. Probably not as much as you, but anyway. But the one thing that is the most annoying thing in the world is not having comfortable chairs.
That's terrible.
I feel like this is a trend, and I'm sick of it. What is wrong? Like the mismatched chair thing that are like school chairs, and you're sat there eating the most delicious meal, but with the most sore bum you've ever had in your life. It's just not a nice experience. And I have to confess, I've never eaten in any of your restaurants, sadly.
We have to change that.
But do you have comfortable chairs?
We sure do.
Okay, good.
We have chairs. I always say a great chair feels like it's giving you a gentle hug from behind. And even the chairs we're sitting in right now they're a little high, but we still have these like spots to put our arms.
Yes.
I don't like my arms just hanging. So
No.
don't get me started on chairs.
Okay.
I could talk to you about chairs.
Really?
All day. Yep.
Okay. Do you know what? Have you ever sat in the QVC Oslo egg chair?
No.
Because we always say that is like a chair giving you a hug.
Oh, is that right? I'm
Do
going
you
to
know
check
what?
it out.
I don't think there is a restaurant in the world that solely just has egg chairs as seats. But that is a great idea. Because you would like, but do you know what I mean by the cocoon egg chair? And they swing, you rock around.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's like a culinary experience. Do you know what I mean? Like another novel.
We have to serve a bib with the food because they might make a mess if they're swinging around.
Comes with a side of vanish. Have you ever done that dining in the sky thing?
No, I haven't. I'd like to. I'll tell you what I have done. I've done dining in the dark.
Oh, yes.
Have you tried that?
The one, where did you do it? Not in Soho?
No, we were
UK?
in Germany, actually.
Okay, wow.
And it was vision impaired people that were running the restaurant, and they wanted to give that experience to people, what it was like to eat your food that you couldn't see. And it was pitch black in the room, and it was really an incredible experience. I mean, you experience the food so differently when you can't see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the sky would be fun as well.
I guess your senses are so heightened.
That's right.
Because you're just you don't know what you're putting in your mouth without.
You're also like feeling it first with your hands because you're like, what is this? And you're sort of feeling the shape of it and the texture of it.
Yes.
And also no one can see you. So it's kind of, you don't have to use your manners. You can eat with your hands if you want to.
Yeah.
I might have done that.
Yeah. Really? But I think that's quite nice. Like it's a different experience, isn't it, with food?
It's a bizarre experience because you're sort of also sitting there thinking, the one thing that was really interesting is every time there was a lull in the conversation, you felt like you needed to fill the gap.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just in silence. And when you can't see and there's silence, it feels quite like the conversation didn't flow like it normally does, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
And also kind of taps into what you're saying about ambience.
Right.
Because, the ambience of a very dark room is very different to like a dimly lit, serene
Well, do you imagine
place.
we lived through COVID, right? So it's like everything that we did in restaurants, we wanted you to feel cozy. We wanted you to feel close. We wanted you to feel you'd be invited. And then we had to put people away from each other and put screens up. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing in the world. It was waiters wearing masks and, it felt so closed down from what we normally try and do.
And
so,
the smell of bleach just sort of like,
oh my God.
oh
Thank
no.
God that's over.
It was just awful.
Well.
So we've heard about your amazing Florentine experience buying your 3 pairs of loafers.
Yes.
Have you got any particular memorable shopping experiences that, I don't know, have you haggled with a person in a souk in Marrakesh or something?
Oh goodness, I have actually. I have been to Marrakesh. It's an aggressive place to shop, Marrakesh. People are on you.
Yeah.
They're looking for the sale. Look, I think when you go and shop where somebody loves it, it's truly why I love the QVC experience, because so often you're talking or hearing from the person that created it, designed it, works with the company, and you get into sort of all the inside information. I bought my wife some perfume. pardon me. And, you'd normally walk into a perfumery and look around and be like, oh, well, that one will do, or that one smells good. But hearing the story of how the petals of the flowers and the this and the that and the inspiration as to why it came to be, I love hearing the story behind things. I think it's important to understand what it is that you are buying.
Definitely, especially when it's a small business and you want to hear like the whole story of, I don't know, how it came to be.
Yeah.
Do you know, I was in Crete. I just got back from Crete, literally last week, and I went to this amazing random little tavern in the hills that we just like found on a whim. And the owner of this little tavern started telling me about the like story of the restaurant and how it had been in his family for 4 generations. And it was named after his grandma. And then he took me in and showed me the kitchen. And I was like, I feel like I've enjoyed that food 10 times more because of that whole experience.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's so special. Oh my God, I love Crete.
Do you?
Yeah.
I've never been until last week, and it's my new favourite place. The food, honestly, Curtis, the food, it was so good. Yeah.
The
amazing.
Greeks know how to do it. They know how to have fun.
They
too.
do. Vegetables. Right, talk to me about produce then.
Okay.
So you're big on seasonal ingredients. We absolutely love seasonal ingredients. Where would you say, this is going to be a hard question, where would you say in the world is your favourite place for fresh and seasonal produce?
Oh my God. I mean, I literally got off a plane from Italy 2 days ago, and it's the fruit that you get over there. Their peaches taste so much peachier than any other peach you've ever had, and their tomatoes are just so sweet and delicious. And it's funny, I did a couple of dinners with another chef at the Splendido in Portofino, and I'd sent him my recipes, and I got there and he said, corn's not in season. And I said, oh, but it's summer. And he said, not really. It's not quite summer. And I'm like, geez, splitting hairs. But he showed me the corn, and he's absolutely right. You know, like it just wasn't as sweet as it should have been. And he said, what do you want to do with this? And I said, well, let's do it. Let's turn it into a risotto. So we ended up, making cheese more of the focus than the sweetness of the corn. But I do think that when you start with great ingredients that are really grown beautifully, and for some reason, I'm not sure whether it's the seeds they use or whether it's the amount of sunshine they get, but in Italy, the produce just seems to be so good. But then when I'm in England, I worked here for a long time, the root vegetables in England taste so much better than the root vegetables anywhere else. The parsnips, the carrots, the swedes, all of that stuff that you get that's just so beautiful here. So yeah, I guess there's certain things from certain places that are better than others.
Yeah. What about in Australia? Because obviously we haven't even mentioned this.
Right.
You're from Melbourne.
Yep.
So what is like your top fave Australian produce things that you can't get anywhere else in the world?
Goodness. Well, we grow great tropical fruits because we've got a whole part of Australia that's very tropical and subtropical. So beautiful sweet pineapples come out of Australia and wonderful mangoes. So when I think of Australia, I think of those kind of ingredients. But it's a big country with lots of, we also grow great strawberries out of Victoria and Tasmania. So it depends on where you are. We've got great fish too, we're just a giant island really. So that, from each part of that country, there's beautiful stuff that comes out of the ocean, which is pretty cool.
Anything specific that you literally can't get anywhere else though, that you only find in Australia?
There's a thing called the Western rock lobster, which it's a native lobster or crayfish, we call it, to that area. And I've never seen anything quite like it. Most of it these days gets taken straight to Japan or Hong Kong. The Asian markets go crazy for it, and I've never seen that kind of lobster anywhere.
Is it true with lobsters that they're not actually expensive? But have you heard this fact? Do you know this?
No, carry on.
I heard this fact that lobsters are one of these things that they're not actually expensive. It's just people think they're posh, so they're not actually difficult to get hold of. Like there's actually quite a lot of lobsters in the world. No? Huh. Do you know this?
Well, no, I'm not sure that that's true.
Is it not true? Someone told me this. Maybe I saw it on TikTok. I don't know. It could be one of those weird facts. I think I feel like, because aren't they just big prawns? No?
Well, they are. Okay. I mean, it's funny because at a certain point in time, lobsters were not fashionable. They weren't popular. People didn't eat them. It's what, they would put them in pies and they would, they were very, very cheap. So they've become more expensive because they've become really popular. I'm not sure how that happens. I guess food trends are really interesting.
They
Because
are.
I hate thinking about food as it being trendy, but it's the truth. You know, like we get onto certain things sometimes, and monkfish used to be called the poor man's lobster because it has a bit of a similar texture to lobster. And it's been really cheap at points, and it's expensive now, yeah.
I really want to know what your food trend predictions are now.
Oh,
so that we can
goodness.
like get on it. You know, I'd like suddenly start a, you know, like an apple farm or so, a lobster farm. Yeah, exactly. Quickly.
Well, mushrooms are having their moment
They are,
in all
that's
sorts
true.
of ways, right? So I think that's probably going to continue, and we're going to see there's so many varieties of mushrooms that we don't sort of celebrate. You know, I mean, it's only a generation. It's a generation. It's only 10 years or so ago that you could only really get one or two types of mushrooms to cook with, but there's all sorts of beautiful mushrooms. I think, you know, the more we travel, the more open to different cuisines we are. And interestingly, with TikTok and Instagram, you know, social media is sort of making the world a smaller place. We're seeing more frequently. So I think more cuisines keep getting brought to the surface and mixed. I don't know which ones will be next, you know, but look, I think there's still a turn back to natural. You know, we're starting to think about the environment more and more, and that's sort of front and center. And I think growing for yourself should be a big trend, and I think it's starting to become one. People are having their own vegetable gardens.
Yeah.
Depends where you are in the world, you know, how much space you've got to have a little plot.
But I think like, I mean, as I sort of mentioned at the beginning, I am a gardener. That is like what I do. And honestly, I'm so passionate about the fact that you can grow, even if you have one pot, even if you don't have a garden, you've just got some, I mean, you probably do need like a little area outside the front of your house or your apartment or whatever, but just one pot, you can grow like so much.
Yeah.
We've got tomatoes in pots at home. You know, it is possible. And weirdly, people get really scared about growing their own. And I don't know why. It's like a weird thing.
It is. It's fun, and it teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have success every single time, but that's part of the beauty of it. You know, if it was so easy, then you wouldn't get as much joy out of it.
I know.
I think that's kind of cool.
So do you, because you live on a farm and you have like a vineyard and you have, right, hang on, 66 acres?
Yeah.
I'm
Well
really
done. You've done your
I'm
research.
smashing this, guys. Can I just say? Yeah, 66 acres. So
Impressive.
do you grow stuff yourself, or
We do,
And
yep.
but as in like personally.
Yeah.
And so if so, what's your favourite thing to grow?
Well, look, I'm a real tight ass. Okay, you need to understand that about me. And when I first moved to Los Angeles, the passion fruit, which in Australia are free, they're everywhere, and they're really in abundance. In the UK, in the US, they were a couple of dollars a piece, $2.50. And I was like, are you joking me? So I went straight away and bought some passion fruit vines, and I thought, I wonder if I can grow them. And I had fabulous success. And I had the home that I lived in, and then we had a test kitchen, and then I had another rental home. So I planted passion fruit vines over all three of them. And then I'd have my gardener collect them. The same guy was the same gardener. So he would bring me boxes and boxes. So I ended up doing months where I did passion fruit menus at the restaurant because my food cost was nothing. It was fantastic. And so that's the economics of it kind of drove me to be more interested in gardening, to be perfectly honest with you. And I've totally fallen in love with it. And of course, the zucchini tastes different at all different stages, right? When it's really young, it tastes very different than when it's more mature. The flower is really interesting to eat off zucchini. Fennel, you can eat the seeds, you can eat the root, you can use it as an herb, the fronds that come from it. So there's so much that you can do with vegetables, and the more you grow, the more you learn, and I think it really does develop you into a much better cook. So I have a great veggie garden at home, and then we have an incredible one at the farm, and we grow grapes, of course. I'm constantly at war with the deer that also like my grapes. Bloody deer.
Oh my,
I mean,
the
my
deer.
gosh. Ugh.
Don't even, I had this recently, but with my roses, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not grapes, but nightmare.
Yeah.
The absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to deal with.
Yeah, literally. So tell me, so on your farm, so you grew all of your passion fruits, which
Yes.
is absolutely amazing. I know you're very big on food waste, like you don't like food waste, and we do as a society generally worldwide. I think we do waste a lot of food.
We do.
And I mean, it's something I think all of us are still kind of like learning about now and trying to kind of come on board with a little bit more. Curtis, you'd be very proud of me because you know with a so you call it a zucchini, but we call it a courgette
Yep,
here
sorry.
in the UK. No, don't apologise. That's who you are, Curtis. But you know, like the knobbly bit at the top. I don't
Yes.
know what it's called. The stalk. I don't know. The knobbly
Yep,
bit.
the knobbly
I
bit.
always eat that now.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fine. See, Becky's screwing her face. Producer Becky is screwing her face up and me eating the knobbly bit of a courgette. But it's that you can eat it.
Absolutely. You can eat the stem of broccoli. In Southeast Asia, they'll peel it, slice it, and that's what goes into a stir fry. If you ever buy cauliflower rice from the supermarket, chances are that's predominantly made from the stem, the stalk of the cauliflower rather than the florets. So you absolutely can eat lots of the plant that you don't think that you can eat. And when you think of food waste, we waste it in the field, right? Sometimes because it doesn't look perfect enough. So we should lower our expectations of how things look. That's one way that we can do it, because we vote every time we shop. So if you ever get the opportunity to buy slightly imperfect looking fruits and vegetables, I think that's a great message to send to the industry. So we waste in the field, we waste in the store. So, again, we can put pressure on our stores to waste less. We waste when we buy it at home. Sometimes you open your fridge, you're like, that bendy carrot that I never got around to using, I'll toss it. Don't toss it, stick it in a blender, stick it into a soup. You can still use it. And then of course we waste off our plates. So there's all these different points that we waste food, and it adds up to more than 50%. More than 50% of what we grow gets thrown in the trash, which is crazy to think of. And we can totally avoid that, but it's a big thing that we can all do our part with. And I think we genuinely are, different countries, doing better jobs than others. Don't forget, I live in America. They're a little behind in the environmental crusade. But yeah, I do think that there's, it's that collective effort that makes a big difference.
Do you eat the green bit on the strawberry?
I don't.
Do you not?
No, do you?
Apparently you can. Yeah,
Okay.
I think you can.
I'm going to try that.
Yeah, maybe try it.
I've got some strawberries coming up in my show later today. I'm going to peel the green bits off and eat them.
Oh, can't wait to watch.
Let's do it.
Very exciting. That's going to be a good one. Right, Curtis, if you had an unlimited budget,
yes,
and you were going on like the best shopping spree of your life,
yes,
where would you go?
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, it's like, good question. Where would I go? Do you mean what part of the world would I go?
Yeah, what part of the world?
Store?
What sort of shopping centre? What would you buy? Just anything. The world is your oyster, shopping-wise.
Shopping-wise. I spend most of my life wearing chef whites, So I rarely shop for fancy clothes. So I might go back to Italy and hit some of those stores. I walked into a store when I was in Portofino. You're going to laugh at me because now I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me. Very fancy, great menswear. And I walked in and I said to the lady, it was a really beautiful looking store, and I think she took one look at me and thought, you can't afford to shop in here, buddy. I also had my kids with me, and I picked up a pair of shorts. And I said, do you have these in my size? And she said, I do. And then she took the tag out of the inside of the short, and she pointed at the price and said, they're 900 euros for a pair of linen shorts. Would you like to try them on? And I said, yes, I would. Of course, I had no intention of buying those shorts. I thought I've already disclosed to you that I'm a little mean with my money. Well, I'm not, but I'm not going to spend $900 on a pair of linen shorts. So, of course, I tried them on knowing that there was no way on God's green earth that I was going to ever buy them. And then I came out and they had a little pleat in the front, which I really liked. And I said, I just don't like the way that pleat sits. So, of course, I took them off and gave them back to her, and she probably laughed at me and thought I knew he was never going to buy anything. So I might go back there.
Yes!
And buy some of those shorts.
Yeah, prove her wrong.
Because they were really nice.
That's
shorts.
like a Pretty Woman moment.
It is a bit, isn't it?
Yeah. Well
okay.
done, you. You go back and you try on everything. You buy those pleated shorts and give them to someone who likes the way the pleat sits. Do you remember? So obviously you mentioned that you lived in the UK for about, was it 10 years? 10 years? 9, 10 years? Do you remember a TV programme called Ready, Steady, Cook?
Of course.
Okay. It was the best TV programme.
So, it's not on anymore.
It's not on anymore.
Oh, it was so fun.
Travesty. If you're listening and you don't know Ready, Steady, Cook, which, I mean, that is going to be one person. Basically, it was Ainsley Harriott, wasn't it?
Yep.
Lovely Ainsley Harriott.
Good mate of mine.
And there was the green pepper and the red tomato.
The red tomato.
Do you remember this?
Yes.
And and two chefs got a shopping bag with a really random array of ingredients, and then they had to come up with a meal. Now, Curtis, you'll be very proud of me because I'm also big on food waste, and I can look in my fridge and be like, there is some milk and a courgette, and I will make a meal out of it. Like,
nice.
Somehow I will.
Okay.
So I've got a challenge for you.
Okay.
I've got some ingredients here, not
Ooh.
literally, just, you know, in your imaginary kitchen. And I want you to come up with a little meal based on these 4 items.
Okay, let's do it.
So they are lentils,
Yes.
a tin of condensed milk,
Oh, good Lord.
an orange,
Okay.
and a fish finger.
Oh, bloody
Your
hell.
fridge.
Okay. Well,
So, and that's a frozen fish finger, just to clarify. Right, you can
Right.
you can have a moment if you want, but I mean you won't need a moment, Curtis, because you're award-winning Michelin star. Make a Michelin star meal out of that, will you?
I don't need a minute, I need a miracle. Well, what I would do is I would slowly cook the lentils. I'd braise the lentils.
Nice.
If you'd allow me some chicken stock, I'd use chicken stock.
That's
but
fine.
if not, then I'll just cook them in water. Don't season the lentils until the end of the cooking process, because if you season them too early, you'll break the lentils down.
No.
Yes, salt is the enemy of the lentils, so just
Stop.
add it at the end.
Okay, great life tip, thank you.
So you want those to just have that little bit of bite to them.
Okay.
With the orange, I would segment them. Right?
With the chop.
With the chop, I would take them. Well, I would peel it, and then I would take the segments out.
Okay.
And then I would squeeze the rest of that pulp, and I would reduce the orange juice into a syrup.
Nice.
If you allowed me some butter, I'd monte it with a little butter.
that's fine.
But
You
if
can
not,
have
that's
that.
fine. So that's sweet and sticky and bright and citrusy and delicious. I would drizzle that over the plate with the lentils and the fish fingers.
Yes. No, just one. Just
Oh,
the one fish.
the one
Singular.
fish finger. Okay, so
yeah.
the fish finger would sit proudly on top of the pile of lentils with the orange and the orange juice reduction.
Yeah.
And so you get that. I've actually served orange juice reduction with a fish like salmon, which is really fabulous, but with something that's crispy and fried like a fish finger, that would be okay. And what was the last ingredient?
Tin of condensed milk.
Oh God, I don't know what I'd do with that. I would
Oh, you hang on.
caramelize that down,
Okay.
and I'd have that for dessert.
I was going to say, I think in Ready Steady Cook you were allowed to make a pudding.
Oh yes, because you got a pantry
Yeah,
staples.
yes, exactly.
Oh,
and so
well,
you've
that
also
changes
got the
everything.
orange peel and stuff.
Yeah,
So
true.
surely there's some. I mean, anyway.
Well,
this is
you know
your-
what you can make? You can get some digestive biscuits, as if you're going to do a cheesecake crust.
Yeah.
Right. So you melt some butter and put that through the biscuits. They would have been in my Ready Steady pantry, and then I would line a mold like a cupcake mold.
Yeah.
And then what you can do with that sweetened condensed milk, with some of the orange zest, you're right, you can just pierce the top of it and put it into a pot of boiling water. And it will reduce down, so it gets really thick and caramelly. Spoon that into the crumb that you've made with the butter and the digestive biscuits. What do you call the digestive biscuits?
Yeah, digestive biscuits.
Okay.
Yeah.
You spoon that caramel, and then you bake it in the oven. And they become these gorgeous little like caramel pies, little tarts. They're actually really, you're making me hungry.
Sounds like kind of cheesecakey, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would
Curtis,
work. Okay.
I mean,
You got a
that was-
2-course meal.
I literally, that is, come on, everyone, guys, that is well done. I really set you a hard challenge there. I would eat that. That's really, especially if it was a bird's eye fish finger.
Oh, okay. God, I haven't had a fish finger in a long time.
Have you not? Well, you're in the UK now, so
Yeah,
now's
I can
the
try it
time.
again.
I mean, surely you get them in the US, don't you? No?
I think they probably do. I just
Okay.
haven't thought to buy one.
You've never been to that section of the supermarket, have you?
I don't go
Or
often.
not for a while, anyway. Right, Curtis, finally, we won't keep you too much longer. What brings you joy in shopping? Yeah, this can be for produce, for clothes, whatever
Yeah.
it is. What brings you joy?
Do you know what? I like shopping for other people. I think the
Aw.
gift of giving is very sweet. And I do like thinking of other people when I shop. And
Aw.
yeah, I probably shop more for others than I do for myself. That's
Really?
True. Yeah.
Is gifts your love language? Like, as in, sorry, is it your, like, you love buying gifts for people? That's like one of your love languages you
For sure.
portray out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
And what do you like buying for other people?
I think when you see something, I hate shopping because someone's having a birthday and I'm like, I've got to get them a birthday present. So I sort of just shop through whenever and I'm like, oh, that's good for that person. I'll buy it and stick it in a cupboard. I quite often forget about it and find it a year after their birthday. But anyway, I think that's a nice way to shop. Just when you see something that you know is right for someone, grab it, wrap it, stick their name on it and keep it in the cupboard. So then when it comes time to, spoil someone, you've already got it.
Oh, Oh, that's such a nice idea. I like that.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't like the pressure of buying for a birthday.
Right.
It's stressful, isn't it? You're like, oh my gosh, what like polo shirt can I get my father-in-law this time? Do you know what I mean? It's just like another, anyway. But that is a great idea. I like that. I'm going to take that on board. Yeah.
I found a little journal in Florence where we were. They're big on paper. They make these beautiful papers there.
Did you go to Il Papiro?
I did.
Oh, it's the best shop ever.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Best shop ever. Marble papers.
They even
lots of
show you how they
cards.
marble the paper.
Yes, it's wonderful. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Okay, so I found a journal in there. Well, it looks like a journal, but you open it and it's a dinner party organizer. So it has a round and an oval shaped table, so you can organize your seating plan.
Oh.
Right, so you can decide where people are going to sit. There's the invite list, so it tells you where to write the names of the guests that you're going to invite, and then the menu, and then there's a recipes and a thing. So there's like 4 pages dedicated to each dinner party. But over the year or years, you'll look back and be like, oh, do you remember that dinner party? Oh, we had those people around. And I was like, what a beautiful idea for a book. So I bought about 3 of those, and I'm going to gift them to people that I know like to have dinner parties.
Oh, that is Curtis, that is so nice. But also, you need to keep one for yourself, because in 10 years' time, when you look back and you're like, oh, remember that time we had LeBron James round for dinner? It's going to be like a great full circle moment.
See
you know
how
what
she
I mean?
did that? This is why you're hosting this podcast. Well done. Well done.
Curtis, thank you so much. Final thing to say, tell us all about your range at QVC. We're very excited.
Well, thank you so much. We've been here for the Today Special Value a couple of times, and they've both worked fantastically. And it's because the products work so well. I've developed the best non-stick cookware on the planet. It works better than anything else that you'll ever find. Literally, you can just slide your food out and it makes the cleanup a breeze. And then we do a bunch of tools that really do improve the way you cook when you get it at home. So there's all sorts of gadgets and tools that really change the way you can cook. So there's the staples, like the cookware. I've got a grill pan that I've just brought out, which is really lightweight. We make it out of forged aluminum, so it's lightweight. It conducts the heat brilliantly, and it has that wonderful DuraPan non-stick surface. That's we're the only people that have it. I couldn't be prouder of it. I absolutely love it because I get so many. I've been at this for a while in the US where I live, and we've become the Home Shopping Network's highest rated brand across the board, not just in the kitchen, but across the board. So when you read those reviews of people saying, oh my God, this has totally changed the way I cook, it really makes you feel good because you know that you're just having a little influence on people's lives, because life revolves around the dinner table at my house, and I think so many people's homes. And if dinner's delicious, the house seems to be pretty happy. So it's a beautiful line. We make sure it looks really pretty, but it works so well. And yeah, I'm going to bring you lots more stuff.
I'm so excited for this. I cannot wait. My biggest take home, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy a chop and I'm going to put it in my present box.
Yes.
I really am. I think it's just wonderful. Curtis, thank you so much for giving us so much of your time, for telling us all about your shopping joys, your food joys. It's just been so wonderful. Have a brilliant rest of your time in the UK, and we'll look forward to your new range at QVC.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Joy of Shopping podcast. You can catch up with all the other episodes in our YouTube playlist. Do not forget to subscribe if you love this sort of content. Thank you so much for watching.